videos what she sees and what I see. Ugly motherfucker here, but all right, I'm gonna show you guys something. Stand by. This might not be much to some people, especially you big block Chevy guys, but if you got a Hemi, man, we fired this thing up and there's no oil under here, man. I know, don't look at that oil pan, that's pretty rough. Got this freshy tranny here, gotta put some oil in here, but man, I gotta put all my carbon and my belly pan and all my shit on here, my diaper, but there's no hanging drips. There's no nothing. But, just so you know, I'm not scared to blow this thing up. And that's what makes this stuff so fun. Is I will run my shit hard. So, all right. Old Faithful is fired up. Fire in the hole. Go to top the training fluid off, do some of that, and check the static timing. I already did that. I wish I could flip this camera around while I'm talking, but this is my other phone. This is not my filming phone. You gotta have two. There we go. Charging up this battery. I'm gonna put some more training fluid in here. Got it, first fire up happenings. Got the valves lashed, got this thing back together. We don't have any fuel leaks. All right. We'll run this thing a little more tomorrow night, and then I'll put her on the chip. So here's the log from that spool test. That is to the chip and 20 pounds of boost in 4.6 seconds. So it's a little slower than what we're used to, and it kind of hung out here, missing 1,000 RPM for a minute. So I'm gonna go through this real quick and kind of see what I got cooking here. All right, I wanted to look at this and show you guys what I found. So let's start here with my transmission tuning table and my spool assist valve. So I have 3, but this is the only one on. And I have this weird, it looks different, kind of shrunk down. So let me show you what it kind of looks like for you guys that are familiar with Holley. But the motor kind of held out right here. and I wasn't really sure why. Now this converter's a lot tighter, but I'm looking in here and pops back up. And that's where all the boost comes in. And I thought maybe it didn't make a lot of boost as fast as normal. And I thought, since that kind of lined up with my spool assist valve, maybe it had something to do with that. But literally, you look at the pressure difference here, 36.5, 111. So that should actually hold the motor back some. Then you come over here. Now, this blue is closed loop compensation, and it's not normally on when you're on the two-step. But I made a boost enrich table that leans out the motor because I was playing with, rather than play with fuel, I just built a temporary table that I could turn on and off and offset the AFR, which will pull fuel, 20% of fuel. And you look at when this shuts off, so it's possible that it wanted some more fuel and it was just unhappy. Now I'm not gonna mess with that right away because I can just turn that table off and spool test it and check. Now the other motor liked it being lean and it spooled super fast. So, I mean, we're talking 2 seconds, 2.3 seconds. EGTs are happy. So I'm gonna mess with that. But what I did right now, what I wanna show you guys is, where's my timing table here? So I had to delete a bunch of this stuff and start over. That's not really a good one. Yeah, ignition timing. So I was watching my ignition timing. That's purple. And I think it doesn't pull any till right here, which is 4,000 RPM. So I come in here and I look at my little table that I made. And I have a bunch of different tables. I've tried this a bunch of different ways. So we're right here on the cusp of pulling timing. So I moved some RPM ranges around here and I'm gonna try pulling it at 3850 and see what that does. So I feel like the little leaner AFR boost enrich thing I made makes this thing pretty crisp and it's usually pretty blubbery. So I fixed that and then I lowered my engine two-step to 4850 because it got to that. So there's 4863. It was bouncing. You can see my RPM at the top. It was bouncing, which is normal, but I want it to hit to get to an RPM where it can actually get on the chip. So that'll help me make a little boost. The misfiring will help light the turbo off, help pull some timing early. And then I went in and one of the things I don't like about Holley is dump valves. You can turn them on going down the racetrack, but you can't turn them on. You can turn them on when you spool, but you can't turn them off when you're spooling. So I like to leave with the converter full. So I made a bunch of weird tables here and these. So I don't have these enabled, but let me zoom in here. But I have these main dumps, and then through this can ground, I just configure this so like there's a spool input for that orifice of dump valve. And I don't know if you guys can see that. TPS above X, map above X, T-brake launch enabled. And then down track, so that's preset to shut off at a certain RPM or a boost level and come on a certain. And then I do my dump control with the timer, old school. So that actually was effective, but I noticed I shut it all off and was able to get back on the normal Holley stuff with the old motor, and it didn't really care. So I'm gonna see if I can't chip a couple seconds off of this, dumping a little more converter pressure. 35 pounds is not much, but it's enough to hang on to the converter. So those are the changes I'm gonna make. I'll do another spool test and then we'll just turn boost enrich off and see what that does. But I'd like to leave it on, like I said, especially down in here. Like I can trim the table. Let me show you guys my table. I can trim the table so that it doesn't do that up high, but it's just an AFR offset. It's not that big of a deal. So got 0.5% of AFR or half a number of AFR down here. Now I could come in and trim all this to 0 and it would do the same thing. But anyway, I feel like it helps clean it up right in here. So I could probably just leave that alone and cut all this out rather than turn it off. And yeah, you can go in and adjust your transient throttle and stuff like that. The problem is that when you pedal this, and I used to no prep race a lot, you would go into accelerated enrichment, but I don't want to lean pop. And I feel like the motor's happy, but maybe just step in is a little rich. So it's a cheater way of doing it, but I'm not really affecting anything down track. So that's the reason I do that. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Follow along. I'm gonna make another video and let you guys know how this worked. All right, smash that like button and subscribe.